Today on NewsWatch, Super Tuesday Part 3 is over. We have a look at the story behind the numbers, the candidates who came out on top, and what's next in the presidential race. Plus, Pat Boone earns high honors in Israel. See why the American singer is being awarded. And Miracles from Heaven hits the big screen today. We're taking you behind the scenes of the latest faith-based film. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Donald Trump moves closer to the Republican nomination, winning in 3 states Tuesday. And Senator Marco Rubio ends his campaign after his Florida loss, so the race is now down to 3, with Governor John Kasich staying in after winning his home state, Ohio. And there is more talk of a brokered Republican convention. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton took 4 more states, securing her major lead over Bernie Sanders. Heather Sells has the latest.
We have to bring our party together. We have to bring it together.
Donald Trump may not have brought the party together yet, but math and momentum are now clearly on his side. On Tuesday, he won in North Carolina, Illinois, and Florida, bringing an end to Senator Marco Rubio's campaign.
While it is not God's plan that I be president in 2016 or maybe ever, the fact that I've even come this far is evidence of how special America truly is.
But in Ohio, Trump did fall to its governor, John Kasich.
We are going to go all the way to Cleveland and secure the Republican nomination.
There's no clear path there for Kasich, however. 6 weeks of primary voting have given Trump more than half of the delegates he needs to secure the Republican nomination. He now has 621 compared to Ted Cruz's 396 delegates and Kasich's 138. But anti-Trump Republicans are pressing in to prevent the frontrunner from winning the GOP nomination. The Associated Press reports that a group of conservatives plan to meet Thursday to discuss a contested convention and the possibility of a third-party candidate. Even House Speaker Paul Ryan is not ruling out the idea of being drafted by the party. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton clearly strengthened her hand on Tuesday, taking Florida, Illinois, Ohio, and North Carolina.
We are moving closer to securing the Democratic Party nomination and winning this election in November.
She now has at least 1,561 delegates, almost twice as many as Bernie Sanders. Sanders is hoping to make up ground in the West, where all the campaigns now head. Next week's races include voting for both parties in Utah and Arizona. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Here with more about the primary results is Dr. Paul Bonicelli, professor of government at Regent University. So another big win for Donald Trump last night. He did hit a speed bump in Ohio with Governor John Kasich winning that race. Does that help or hurt Trump?
I think it helps greatly that he had the night that he had. Ohio really doesn't matter because that's a sitting governor, one of the most popular governors in the country.
Indeed.
It would have been really bad for Kasich to lose it or even not win it big. So I think Ohio's not really a factor. It's only 66 delegates compared to the 200 plus that Trump's probably going to take home after this. So huge win for Trump.
Well, Marco Rubio did drop out of the race. Ted Cruz, of course, still running a very close second place to Donald Trump. Do you think the Republican establishment will now get behind Cruz?
I don't know. I talked to a lot of people, and among the quote-unquote establishment, people that are professionals, been a long time in the party, doing either government or politics, there's a real division. There are people who genuinely don't like Cruz and don't want to get behind him, but there are people who, apart from whether they like anybody, they may even like what Cruz would do as president. They think he can't win in November compared to what Trump could do, given the kind of race you'll have between two really candidates with a lot of blemishes.
Now, polls show that Trump is looking good in the upcoming states. Does that make the possibility of a brokered convention look less likely to you?
I still think there's a chance Trump could take enough that he either has a majority or he's so close that no one even wants to bother with taking it away from him. But a lot is depending on Ted Cruz. If Ted Cruz can really reach out to the whole party, try to embrace people genuinely. And that means his staff, too. It can't be just him making a speech like he did last night. Great speech, but his staff has to reach out to people, embrace them. And if he can do that, there's a chance that I think he can ward off Trump having such a lead that it's impossible to take the nomination away.
On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton seems to have moved past Bernie, now campaigning more against Trump. Does that give her a head start in the one-on-one matchup, you think?
I think it does. She certainly took that opportunity last night, and all the commentary on the speech was the content made sense, but it's the way she delivers is always a problem for her, and it turns some folks off. I think that she is, if anybody can beat her this year, or if she can be beaten this year, people like Cruz and Trump do have an opportunity because of her problem, her popularity rating. I mean, she only gets one demographic, really. So she may as well start turning on the Oppo research on Trump right now.
Now, of course, many people watching thinking, well, after last night, maybe this race is finally settled on both sides. What would you say to them?
I would say it's probably true. Certainly the Republicans, Cruz is not out, but if you had to bet, I think you'd say Trump is in a better position to get the nomination. Hillary was always in the position to get it because the Democrat Party arranges these delegate selections in a way that favors whoever the party favorite is. Republicans don't do that. So unless she's indicted or her staff's indicted, there's a real problem with the email scandal. She's going to be it. And I think we're looking at least, we know the three people, Clinton, Trump, or Cruz, are going to be the people at the end of the day.
Do you think that Clinton is pleased that it looks like she'd get a Trump matchup?
I think that she is thrilled Marco Rubio is out because he was the one they feared the most. He represented this attractive candidate that would bring a lot of people from both parties if, the option was her or him. Trump, I think she feels better about because there's a lot of things she can hurl at him. I hope they're not too confident about that because I'm not convinced Hillary could beat Trump at all.
No race is settled yet. Thank you so much. Always appreciate it. Franklin Graham's Decision America tour rolled into Denver Tuesday. 10,000 turned out in the Mile High City to hear him remind Americans neither the Democrats nor the Republicans can turn this country around. Stephanie Riggs caught up with Graham in Denver to hear why he believes no political party or politician is the answer.
And I want us to confess the sins of our nation.
More than 5,000 Christians prayed with Franklin Graham to boldly live out their faith and pray for our nation and its leaders.
There are many places where Christian men and women could get the vote if only they would offer themselves. We need Christian men and women to vote, and before you vote, ask God.
Just as Nehemiah cried out to God to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem and restore hope to God's people, Graham prays and hopes that this tour will do the same.
I want to see the body of Christ come together and pray like never before and get involved and vote and vote according to what biblical principles.
It was amazing. I am so encouraged for our state, for our nation. This is a God-breathed thing. God is doing so much in America. I'm so happy to be part of it in Denver, Colorado.
Graham urged the thousands here today to go on their smartphones and log on to the Decision America tour site and make a pledge to both God and country. The pledge incorporates 1 Corinthians 3:11. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. And 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
And I've heard people say, well, if this person gets in or if that person gets in, I'm not going to vote. Shame on you. The problem we have in this country today is because 20 to 30 million Christians did not vote in the last election.
But Graham reminds us we can't do any of this in our own strength, as it says in Zechariah 4:6, but only by completely surrendering to God through prayer and His Word. With the Decision America tour in Denver, Colorado, Stephanie Riggs for CBN News.
I want to turn overseas now. A University of Virginia student has been sentenced to 15 years of hard labor in North Korea. The country's highest court sentenced Otto Warmbier for, quote, trying to steal a propaganda banner from a hotel. The 21-year-old student tourist says he wanted the banner as a trophy for the mother of a friend. Warmbier was arrested as he was trying to leave North Korea in early January. He was visiting as a tourist with a New Year's tour group. Florida Governor Rick Scott has signed a new law known as the Pastor Protection Act. The law protects clergy, churches, and religious organizations from civil lawsuits if they choose not to perform same-sex marriages. Liberty Counsel founder Matt Staver advocated for the bill. He says he is pleased with the protection, but that the law needs to be broadened to protect all people. Staver states this assault on marriage is really an attempt to obliterate Judeo-Christian morality, to destroy marriage and family, and is an attack on God who created male and female. A similar law has been adopted in both Texas and Georgia. Coming up, a friend of Zion, why American singer and pop icon Pat Boone received high honors from the Jewish state. Christian singer Pat Boone won an award in Israel recently for his impact on culture in Jerusalem for writing the title song to the 1960 epic film Exodus. Chris Mitchell explains why there is such a strong connection.
Some call the song Israel's second national anthem.
This land is mine. God gave this land to me.
It came out of the Bible. Yeah. And I knew two things. One, that everything in the Bible from beginning to end was written by Jews, about Jews, and for Jews. Not all Christians even realize that, and not all Jews. What we call the Old and the New Testaments all are about Jews and about God's working with his chosen people. And that we Gentiles can get in on it if we accept the God of Israel.
The Friends of Zion Award contains the song written in the shape of a harp, translated into Hebrew. Boone originally wrote the words on Christmas Eve on the back of a Christmas card. That card is now displayed in Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Museum in Jerusalem, Yad Vashem.
I think this song, Exodus, and the privilege I had writing the words for Ernest Gold's great melody, is part of the most significant time in my life, and maybe significant moments. Maybe one of the main reasons I was born.
Boone told CBN News that this honor is one of the highlights of his life.
I can't imagine any other thing in my life other than my marriage and my own salvation that means as much as this.
The Friends of Zion Museum here in Jerusalem honors Christian Zionists who gave their lives to save the Jewish people during the Holocaust and help form the State of Israel. Chairman of the board, Yossi Peled, is a retired IDF general and former government leader. Born in Belgium in 1941, a Christian family hid him to keep him safe.
From the age of 6 months until I became 8 years old, I was raised by a Christian family. And I was used to go I went to church every Sunday and cross myself and cross the bread before eating and pray to Jesus before going to bed.
Peled said he's proud to be part of the Friends of Zion vision.
It's an outstanding vision about the history of this nation. Not only the story, because nothing is new basically in the story, but it's new in the way they presented it.
Until
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Up next, actress Jennifer Garner talks about her new movie, Miracles from Heaven. We'll take you behind the scenes of the latest faith-based film. The new movie, Miracles from Heaven, hits theaters across the nation today, and it is already receiving some high praise. Faith-driven Consumer gave Miracles from Heaven a 4-star rating, calling it the inspirational movie of the year. The film scored high for its depiction of faith and godly relationships, its family compatibility, and pure entertainment value. The group says it's a movie that reminds us God is actively engaged in our lives. The movie is about a little girl named Annabelle Beam who was diagnosed with an incurable disease, but then God healed her in a most amazing way. I got a behind-the-scenes look at the new film.
Christy Beam watches closely as the pages of her book, Miracles from Heaven, come to life on this film set. This is the amazing story of her daughter Annabelle's healing from an incurable, deadly digestive disorder.
Sorry, we don't know what our schedule is going to be with the doctor. We just have to be available.
Actress Jennifer Garner plays Christy, a role she personally calls transformative.
My initial thoughts were, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if I could really, just on a basic level, believe the story. And at the same time, I was so moved by it. I just wanted to know more.
Christy and her family watched Anna suffer through years of pain, invasive hospital tests, and surgeries. Unable to do anything else, doctors sent Anna home to die. Then, despite the pain, one day she decided to climb a tree with her sisters. It was a hollow cottonwood, and she fell inside 30 feet head first to the bottom. She was trapped, unreachable, unresponsive for hours. Until unexpectedly, Anna woke up, walked away healed, with a story of meeting Jesus in heaven.
So you're telling me that when this baby girl fell 30 feet, she hit her head just right, and it didn't kill her, and it didn't paralyze her. It healed her. Yes.
We watched the film with Anna and her family in Texas.
Is what happened? Is it what you prayed for?
I didn't exactly pray for it, but I just knew I was tired of dealing with it. And I didn't want to have to deal with it anymore, but I wasn't like, oh, I hope I fall in a tree and get healed.
Ready, and action.
I love talking to people who can see their lives portrayed on the big screen, especially when they have such great actors and actresses playing them. Did Jennifer Garner?
Oh, she did an amazing job. She nailed it. And you know, her heart was so in it from the very beginning. From the moment we met, we just bonded. Maybe as mothers, we just connected. And it just warmed my heart because she had my book and she was poring over the pages. She'd highlighted things. She had questions for me about things. So she completely engulfed herself in it.
This is our 4th time here.
This is an acid reflux. Her throat's raw because she's been throwing up for weeks.
Well, Mom, I'm the doctor, and that's my diagnosis. So if you'll excuse me, I have the patients I need to see.
Excuse me, this is not acid reflux. She's not lactose intolerant. There's something wrong with our little girl.
Mrs. Beam, you need to calm down.
No, you calm down. You find me another doctor, you run some more tests. I'm not leaving this hospital until I know what's wrong with my daughter.
When you met Christy Beam finally and thought, I'm going to put this woman's life on screen, what did you think you had to bring to the table to make it happen?
It was very, very important to me that we brought to the screen what I saw in real life, which was the enormous love between this family, and that we be allowed to let there be struggle within that love, because that is part of real life, and you can't expect to go through something this huge without having moments of strife.
Miracles from Heaven unites a familiar producing team, Bishop T.D. Jakes and former Sony executive Devon Franklin. They worked together on the film Heaven is for Real.
I know you were looking for a follow-up to Heaven is for Real. Why was this the perfect story to do that?
So funny, because the chairman of Sony at the time, Amy Pascal, had called and said, you know, we need to do Heaven is for Real too. And literally, like, it was like, yeah, well, Amy, you know, Colton came back. Like, he's cool, right? He's healed. And she's like, no, there's an audience out there that wants more content like this. And then immediately it was like, well, how do we do it? And his book agent, Jen Miller and Nina Madonia, had this book proposal called 3 Miracles from Heaven. And the moment we had taken a look at it, it was a mother-daughter story. It was a mother fighting for the healing of her child. An amazing miracle happened. It was a page-turner. And when you put that proposal down, it was clear. This was the movie to do.
We know that Christy Beam is central to this story, but one of the things that really touched me was her husband, the gentleman playing her husband in the film. As a father and a husband, I could identify.
Anna's gonna be okay. It's probably just a bug. Doctor will give us something for it.
I just feel anxious.
About what?
About everything, the kids, the house, your business.
Kids, come on, the kids are fine. Well, my business is gonna work.
Oh, babe, you say that like it's absolute.
Well, this may take a while. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. It's a good life, Christy Beam.
What do you want men to take away from that? I mean, because I know
turning to a wife who's falling apart, trying to figure out how do I pull this together for you.
Right. I do too.
I do. Yes, I do.
Been there, done that again.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, you're one of the few people to ask that question. I think it's a great question to be asked. You would think with a female directress of the level that we had, and you would think with a female primary star of the level of Jennifer Garner, that it would be a chick flick. You know, everybody in it, it's a female story. It's about a girl. It's about her mother. It was directed by a woman, but it is not a chick flick.
No.
It does not emasculate men in any way, nor does it trivialize the masculine role. He's still strong. He's still relevant. He's still powerful. And I think men will enjoy this film because it is not just merely the dumbing down of the masculine role in the home.
This is a story of hope, from the heart to the heart.
I want people to come away feeling hopeful, and I want people to come away and feel like they are surrounded by miracles and they are surrounded by love. And sometimes you may have to dig them out. It's worth digging them out. It's worth taking the time to look around you and really find the joy that already exists in your life.
And Miracles from Heaven hits theaters today. Of course, I did get the chance to see it, and it is well worth the visit. Stay with us. There's more of CBN NewsWatch coming up after this. And finally, it is time for your Wednesday word. And the word I'd like to share today is disaster. No one likes it, but when you're facing it, here is something to consider. The temporary hopelessness of a physical disaster pushes a believer closer to the eternal hope that is in Christ Jesus. He is the hope of glory, even in what seems like a hopeless situation. With that, make this a wonderful Wednesday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. We would love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you join us again right here next time. Once again, make this a wonderful Wednesday.